Welcome. This is the webinar for Microsoft Security Copilot, showing a lot of the new great AI features that you can take advantage of. This is being put on by Covenant Technology Partners. So Covenant is a 21-year-old Microsoft partner. We've been helping clients to design and implement Microsoft-based solutions for many years. And we are recognized by Microsoft as a designated cybersecurity partner. So that enables us to do some interesting things. But just FYI, so we are recording. So and we're gonna run this with open mics. So please do mute yourself. But we're gonna hold the questions to the end. So if you do come off mute and you're making noise, we will mute you. So just be aware of that. We are recording this, and so as a result, we can provide recordings, but at request, because but we're happy to provide recordings as well. So with that, Chris Boise is going to be our primary presenter today. My name is Doug Meyer, by the way. But Chris Boise is our primary presenter. Chris leads our security team, and he's our lead architect. And Chris has been deeply engaged in security for a long time and is highly capable. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy hearing from Chris. But before we get started, we always like, because we have a diverse audience here today, so we want to make sure that we tailor the content to your needs. So a couple quick questions. First of all, how many of you, or what type of, so if you don't mind, please answer the poll that you're seeing here. How many of you have Microsoft 365 E5 versus E3 versus some other Microsoft 365 versus a different email system altogether, right? So how many of you have that? And this is important because guess what? If you have E5, you have some tools. Well, quite frankly, if you have E5 or E3, you have tools that a lot of clients don't even know they have, right? So one of our goals today is to make sure you're aware of tools that you already have, maybe sitting on the shelf. But anyhow, we want to, and so it matters. You have different tools available if you have E5 versus E3. Okay. The next question is, do you lead your SecOps function, your security operations function? And this is important because a lot of this message and these tools are really designed for that security operations function. And so if you're leading that, then this is going to matter to you differently than if, and by all means, if you're an engineer, that's great. Or if you're just trying to learn more about security, that's great too. But if you're leading SecOps, this will be especially relevant in a different way. So. And finally, does your organization have an AI roadmap, including security? So in other words, I'm sure all of you are doing AI, right? You're applying AI. But have you accounted for the cybersecurity part of AI, and is that included in your roadmap? This is a pretty telling question because we're seeing different clients taking different approaches, and obviously. It's important that you do align security, but this is meant to be just an honest, where are you today, right? All right, and then all right, so I already mentioned, please hold your questions to the end. Yeah, it looks like most of our so Chris, looks like most of our participants here have E3, but we have roughly 30% have E5, so that's good. And then it looks like pretty evenly divided between leading SecOps and not leading SecOps. So 43% are leading. And then most people, 75%, do have security accounted for in the AI roadmap. That's fantastic. That's great. So congratulations. We have a high-end audience here today, so that's wonderful. So with that, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'll come back at the end and do some wrap up. So thank you.
Great. Thanks everybody today for joining. We appreciate the diversity of the audience today. I think there's going to be some valuable information shared for everybody that's participating. Uh, I'm going to jump off camera here and start moving through the presentation portion. As we move through the presentation, the primary focus is on Microsoft Security Copilot, which is a distinct Copilot experience from what you may be used to with the other Copilot solutions. It is rapidly evolving. I do have to make that statement. So some of the images and experiences we're going to share today within a very short time frame may have a change in appearance as more and more users are adopting Security Copilot. Brief, big picture, Security Copilot is, and big announcement, is now included for all Microsoft 365 E5 customers. So this will become visible in your environments through an embedded experience within several of the administrative portals within your tenant, starting with the security.microsoft.com portal, for otherwise known as Microsoft Defender. Moving on through the Intra ID portal, the Intune portal, and Purview portals are where the embedded experiences are starting out. However, it is, again, rapidly evolving. So we should expect to see security across all administrative experiences moving forward. To be clear, what is Security Copilot? Security Copilot is an AI assistant that helps IT and security teams find and fix cybersecurity threats. It is built on a generative AI model that's been trained specifically for cybersecurity. It's not just a chatbot. It is tuned to understand threats, logs, alerts, malicious behavior, and security workflows particular to your tenant. It ingests a massive amount of security signals. Microsoft and partner security products generate a significant volumes of alerts and telemetry and other information that can be challenging for security professionals to sift through. Copilot takes that part of the job and makes it much more efficient. And as we discussed, it integrates seamlessly with Defender, Sentinel, Intune, Entra, Purview, and soon to be much more. Think of it like a super smart security sidekick. It can read a huge amount of data instantly, spot suspicious activity that might be missed due to that volume, and explain it to security professionals and others in plain English and normal language. Provide you next step guidance, and more so automate some of those repetitive tasks. It's basically a security expert that never gets tired. A little bit more, it is agentic. It uses agents that can be designed to perform specialized tasks. And the Security Copilot supports the built-in Microsoft built agents, partner agents that are available in the App Store, and custom agents that can be created yourself to fine-tune and fit culturally within your organization. It provides suggested actions and options to automate them by recommending next steps, generating comprehensive incident reports. Personal favorite of mine is it helps build the KQL queries or the Kusto queries that can sometimes be a bit cryptic in exactly how to get the information that you want. Copilot makes that that part of the job much more easier. And from a more strategic point of view, can help generate remediation plans and help with the overall posture management of your tenant and your associated solutions. And a big key is it learns from your environment specifically. So that's a significant advantage over more publicly accessible AI tools. And key is it doesn't just explain. I do want to emphasize that there are early indications of Security Copilot and material that was based around it did purport it as an excellent reporting tool, but some of the literature from last year didn't necessarily dive into the additional uh, features and capabilities of Security Copilot, and that it provides recommendations, puts together automated actions for you, to which it could be as simple as a click of a button to execute a mandatory password reset for a user, for example, all within one interface. Um, Next key to understanding Security Copilot is security compute units. This is the unit of measurement that Microsoft uses to track how much compute power your organization consumes when using Security Copilot. Think about it as if it's the fuel that powers the AI behind the scenes. Examples of consumption of compute units would be running various prompts, requesting analysis of incidents, usage of various plugins or agents, generating a report, performing an investigation, and additional processing of data from Defender, Sentinel, etc. Every action that requires AI processing consumes some amount of SCU. This is important, and it still applies to that announcement that Security Copilot is available with an E5 license. Note that today, if you exceed the compute units, there is an overage charge. So it's very important to understand when you first start your journey in issuing agents with Security Copilot, to be mindful of single use execution versus the daily execution. Some agents will default to executing daily, for example. So it's very important to have an understanding of how those agents operate and how they need to be configured in order to be cost conscious. Um, More notes on the E5 association with Security Copilot. The rollout started last month for existing Security Copilot customers with Microsoft 365 E5 licensing. Uh, Moving forward through the upcoming months, Microsoft will be pushing this out to all 365 E5 customers. Customers should receive a 30-day advance notification before the features are activated. Um, Microsoft 365 E5 customers who already have Security Copilot, meaning the Security Copilot as a consumption service, can get started today. A great starting point is to go to securitycopilot.microsoft.com. It's also important to highlight what's not included with that E5 licensing Security Copilot Association. Um, uh, Sentinel and associated data lake compute or storage costs are not included. What is specifically included is the compute units. So additional storage space. Typically, if you're storing logs in excess of 30 days in a log analytics workspace, you're still obligated to the costs associated with storage. Um, agentic, pardon me, data security investigations within Purview, which is a separate activity type, although it can be performed through the Copilot window, is an example of possible additional storage use and compute use within your Purview data map, for example. The costs associated with that still apply. Uh, Automation, for example, using Azure Logic Apps with Security Copilot, which Security Copilot can build and execute. Uh, but again, the compute cycles for the Logic apps and any additional storage, again, they are an additional cost. Partner built agent licensing paid through the security store. Those are not covered as well. So that the licensing fees still apply for partner built or third party agents utilizing Security Copilot. Some agents may require prerequisites that involve products outside of Microsoft 365 E5, and those would not be covered as well. The uh, simplify the point being made is that the licensing advantage for the E5 with Security Copilot is the compute units. Which, so for every 1,000 paid licenses for Microsoft E5, 400 security compute units are allocated monthly. It is not cumulative, meaning it doesn't roll over for the next month. It's 400 security compute units resets every month. Um, it does scale by user license count. So if your organization is larger than 1,000 users, you would be accredited more than 400 security compute units. An example would be an organization that has only 400 user licenses. They would get the 160 compute units. An organization with 4,000 users would get 1,600 compute units per month. And Microsoft's statement today is that overages and SCUs are expected to be throttled at a future date, but the advice stands still today that a very careful configuration and usage of agents should be considered to avoid any overage costs. All right. So that concludes just the baseline knowledge sharing for Security Copilot. The next step is we're going to move into a demonstration. This demonstration is going to be utilizing the Security Copilot portal, which initially was the primary interface for working with Security Copilot. Though note that the Security Copilot experience is also accessible through the embedded experience in Microsoft Defender, Sentinel, Intune, Entra, and Purview. Our scenario that we're going to look at is assuming the role of a CISO of a prominent organization, responsibilities of safeguarding sensitive data and mitigating cyber threats rests heavily on our shoulders. To address these challenges, we can take a look at Copilot for insights and guidance. And again, disclaimer, this demonstration is based on simulation data generated approximately second quarter of this year. And the current experience may vary a bit as Security Copilot is rapidly evolving. And I'm going to take a moment to fire up our demonstration environment. Should take just about a minute, and we'll be right back.
While Chris is doing that, we are posting it. There's a Microsoft recently published an ebook that's pretty useful related to this topic. We're going to post that link in the chat here in a minute.
Looks like we have it fired up and ready to go. Just a quick check. Everybody can see the screen share?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, to start with, bit of role playing here. I'm a CISO that needs to understand how well my organization is performing in its security operations. And I want Security Copilot to look at the last 30 days of Defender incidents and let me know what threats we're facing and if we're prepared to work with these incidents being closed or resolved. So I'm going to ask Copilot for some help with that. So using my chat prompt, I've reiterated my question, and let's see what Copilot has to say. Now, note here, this is an example of compute units being utilized. Scroll back up here. Now, each one of these actions is not necessarily consuming a complete compute unit. Usage of compute units is fractional. So with this amount of time, the actual compute units used for this request are most likely much less than 1 unit. However, what Copilot has provided here is some very valuable information very quickly based off of 30 days of metrics from a variety of security collection points, detailing, excuse me, different security or suspicious activities around the role assignments, around a very active DLP policy, many incidents related to suspicious login activities from known indicators, several incidents with remote desktop connections that seem a bit unusual, so on and so forth, around common red flag being mailbox permissions being adjusted, and have highlighted these priority items for me. Having that report is great. Typically, to assemble this sort of report would require security administrators to pull various different logs, and could potentially consume hours of that administrator's time, to which this, a CISO or an administrator could have this summary report just by asking a question in plain English. Now, role-playing again a bit, I came across a report mentioning a particular threat actor by going the name of Manatee Tempest. Well, a lot of these attack bodies or organizations, they have some interesting and creative names assigned to them, and sometimes it can be a bit confusing to keep up to date with that. So I have the report number, the incident number that is, and I'm curious as to exactly what happened. So I'm going to ask Copilot to I'm going to let Copilot know that I'm aware about a Defender incident of a particular case number. Um, is possibly a ransomware attack from a threat actor called Manatee Tempest. Um, I'd like Copilot to bullet list and the identified Defender incident, and also provide more information about the threat actor and and profile that threat actor. So I'm going to type that in. There we go. And let's see. Oh, here we have some compute units, some more, getting that response. Great. Okay, so I know now have this incident fully summarized for me. The user that was affected is a Jonah W. Um, the full GUID information, the domain that it was executed from, and a summary of just what is Manatee Tempest. Well, we can ha have that profiled. It's um, a foreign-based cyber criminal group that has been active for quite some time now and is known for one of the earliest uh, Trojans out there entitled Manatee Tempest. It does go by some other names, um, and a quick summary of what that uh, particular actor is. That's pretty neat. Now, this is an example of how Copilot is merging um, both cybersecurity information that is in the public, public sphere, um, meaning that profile around Manatee Tempest, but it's also including the very specific and key uh, information that's in the environment. So getting the best of both worlds. Um, so another example of, particularly from a CISO point of view, I'm I want to know what I can do to prevent and protect the organization as a whole. I really need a list of best practices that I can implement and can tell me if those best practices are already in place. So again, absorbing the professional expertise of Microsoft and beyond, and those best practices in the industry. I also want to see that what that looks like applied to my current tenant. So let's ask Copilot. Okay. Uh, this piece I'm a little curious about. Right. That's important to note. I think that might actually just be an issue with our demo environment here. Um, so here we have some of the best practices, and what were the outliers of what's not currently configured in the environment. So some great best practices here. Many of us who are currently working as security admins or CISOs we're fairly well aware, but now we have a nice summary to start with. Um, yeah, I think that's where it broke. Well, mistakes happen in demonstrations. That's what we get for live demos. That's okay. Let's ask Copilot what we need to do first, and get it to generate a plan for us, um, a three-phase plan that we could execute in the next 90 days. That looks right. All right. And here's another tremendous time saver. We have a step-by-step phase one based off of real world data and expectations and estimation. We have step two, where the practical approach would be these improvement actions. And step three are a final phase for this round of improvement and remediation, um, lined out for us, very simply put, and we now have a plan. This could easily have taken weeks to generate, and plan for by doing the legwork of research on what's the best practice, priority items, going on through what the expected time frame would be to implement, and then ultimately using my export button, I can export this and format it into a presentable plan. To which Copilot, additional Copilot agents are certainly available to make short work of that as well. So one additional example, let's say I want to create a detailed report summarizing all this information that I can present to my board of directors. Um, and I need a technical version and a non-technical version. So let's ask Copilot to do that for me. Great. I have an executive summary I can put together in a communication with my board of directors, all detailing different objectives that we're planning on for our 90-day plan, both in a technical report and again, that summary that we can take a look at here. Now, that's just a small sampling of different prompt types that we could work with. Um, we can take a look at other examples of built-in prompts uh, or prompt books. So we have quite a few to choose from, provided by Microsoft. We're interested in developing our prompt skills. These are great guidelines on how to create effective prompts. Just reading the language and understanding that Security Copilot speaks in normal terms, just as any other conversational chatbot. Um, so you see, there's quite a bit to go through here. You can also create your own prompt books based off of your experiences with utilizing the Security Copilot. And that part's not cooperating with me at the moment. Many apologies. Take a step back, review our session, try to get it to reload. No, you do have some general settings to work with, whether you prefer the interface to be non-black screen, the usual. Um, Note, um, within the settings, you do have the option to turn off Microsoft's collection of any of the data produced. This is on by default. Um, and if you have privacy concerns around your data and Microsoft using that data, you do have the option to turn it off. Um, You'll also have some just basic information about um, where the data storage is, uh, and stay on Woodgrove. And I think here would be a fairly good time to step away from the demonstration and move forward with our Q&A and next steps.
All right. So with that, feel free to come off mute and ask questions directly. You're also always welcome to enter questions into the chat. Chris, while we're waiting for questions, can you what's the best way to get started? Okay, so you showed us these capabilities. If I'm not currently using these capabilities, what's the best way to get started?
First step would be go to securitycopilot.microsoft.com while logged in, of course. That will be your first indicator of where you're at with Security Copilot. If you are prompted to um, configure Copilot with your current Azure tenants, that means that particularly if you're an E5 customer, that means that the E5 compute units have not been allocated to your tenant just yet. I would invite users to particularly billing admins or other admins within the tenant to do a check in their mailbox if they haven't seen the activation notification come through just yet. Now would be the time to start looking. If you're not an E5 user, again, the Security Copilot portal at securitycopilot.microsoft.com would be your next starting point. Um, I would start if you're prompted for configuration and committed to exploring Security Copilot. Um, Start small. Compute units can be surprisingly expensive. It's why that E5 is a tremendous advantage. The security compute units are one of the more relatively expensive resources within the Microsoft ecosystem. So be very mindful of the costs associated. Um, that being said, the configuration is rather straightforward and self-explanatory. However, if there's any reservations, please reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through that key configuration process um, with cost effectiveness being a objective.
Very good. Chris, does the environment learn over time, maybe the patterns of some of my users or some of the attacks that are common?
Absolutely. That is one of the strengths and what it was primarily developed to do. Exactly that, that machine learning occurring in the background and has already been occurring. There have been uh, with within Sentinel, Intune, and particularly in Purview and Defender XDR, that analysis is already taking place. Um, However, Security Copilot turbocharges that analysis and makes it into usable data within seconds, as we saw.
Very good. Any other questions? All right. Well, then I'm gonna move to the wrap up then. Um, so first of all, I'd like to extend an invitation for those of you that have additional needs. We Covenant also offer a security lunch and learn. So if you'd like to have a deeper discussion regarding how these tools can be applied to your environment, please reach out to your client manager, to your Covenant client manager. And if you don't know who your Covenant client manager is, they will be working with you to get a copy of the recording and other information. So you should know who they are. But they're happy to work with you to arrange a deeper dive lunch and learn. Also, if you work for a larger organization, Microsoft actually has a fair amount of funding to support this. Obviously, Microsoft's eager to ensure that their clients are secured, and so Microsoft actually has funding to enable the original the design and architecture of this. Make sure you set it up right the first time. They call that MCI funding. And so Covenant as a certified Microsoft partner, we qualify to apply that funding. So we can help you. So it's possible, depending on your organization, that Microsoft will actually pay for us to work with you to make sure that you're setting this up properly. And then also, please let us know and please work with your client manager if you're interested in joining us for future events. We offer a lot of events on AI, a lot of events on cybersecurity, events on data, events on the business applications. So anyhow, if you're interested in joining us for other events, we hope you will. And your client manager will make sure that you are included on the invitation list going forward. So any last questions before we wrap?
Oh, sure. I would like to point out some of the lunch and learns that we have highlighted here tend to be our most popular topics. Um, and for example, the Security Copilot and its integration point with Defender XDR. We have a full end-to-end breach simulation. Uh, there's approximately an hour-long session to where we can really see Copilot and XDR in a realistic simulation. Um, Another very popular topic is the emerging AI regulations that uh, various regulatory bodies and government agencies are now starting to require, and how to address those with Purview and Intra ID. Uh, and that segues very nicely into just the overall concerns around sensitive data and the power of AI and what Purview can do to help secure your sensitive information. Another one that's increasing in popularity as organizations are building their own agents and AI solutions, um, how to secure that transformation with Defender for Cloud, and a simulation walkthrough on, for example, attempts to jailbreak your own custom developed AI agents. And then there's plenty of more topics as well that we're happy to address. I very much appreciate everybody's time today. And if there's any afterthoughts or any questions, please reach out to your client managers, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.